Hello and good morning, everyone. First Gen family, parents and families. We are so excited to have you with us here today. We are with Nate Owens, and he is the coordinator for First Gen programs. And we are going to give you, First Gen parents and families, information about all of the wonderful things that we do here at the university for your students. My name is Dana Beckers, and I am the director of parent and family programs. And I work with all the parent and families here to communicate about things that are happening at the university. But we specifically want to make sure that you know all of the great resources for your student. So I'm going to turn it over to Nate, and he is going to do a presentation for you.
Yes, thank you, Dana. I'm going to share my screen real quick and we'll go ahead and get started. Again, my name's Nate, coordinator for First Gen programs. I want to just walk us through our First Gen community, kind of who we are, a little bit about what we do, and hopefully that'll give you some insight into really who we are on campus. So, First Gen at UA, what does it even mean? I think it's important to just first define it. Like, what even is First Gen? So every institution is completely different, but at UA, we say a first gen student is someone who neither parent has graduated with a 4-year college degree. Sometimes we'll have students who come to me and they say, hey, my dad took a few university courses, but he didn't graduate. Or mom, she graduated. Maybe she received a certificate from a community college and got her associate's degree. If it really goes back to the parents and whether or not they received that 4-year college degree. And so that is how we define first gen at UA. And for me, this is super, super personal. I know it's personal for your students as well. I'm from a really small town. We have way too many red lights, a Piggly Wiggly, and not too much else going on in my small town. And in the culture there, in my social circles and family, education was never something that was really valued. And so I actually was a mechanic for a while. I worked on cars and eventually had a moment where I realized I don't know that I want to do this anymore. And then I went on the journey. It took me way too long, but I ultimately settled on the fact that I need to get an education. And so made the transition to UA. I studied here, and it was quite a journey. It was quite a journey at the time. I knew nothing about first gen, nothing at all. I remember being in a upper level course in one of my major courses, and I ran across this concept of there being a first gen student and what that looked like, and my mind was blown. My mind was blown. I was like, oh, my experience made so much sense because before I knew about first gen, I struggled with those ideas of like, maybe I'm not good enough or maybe I'm not smart enough. Why is it that everyone seems like they are just thriving and excelling, but this seems so tough for me? But once I figured out that, oh, first gen is a thing, my experience made so much more sense. And it's for me, that's a little bit about me, but I think it's just important to mention too that coming to campus, it can be a little bit tricky. It can be a little bit tough to navigate. And so that brings us to today. I want to discuss our first gen community. But before we do, just a couple of stats. Once I stepped into this role, my mind was blown again because 15% of our undergraduate population at UA is a first gen student. 15%. In fact, last fall and this fall, 20% of students who were admitted are first gen. And within that community, 52% are from the state of Alabama, whereas 48% are from another state. So we have so many first gen students here at UA. And it's important to mention the 52 and 48% too, because regardless of where your student is coming from, we have a super diverse community that they can plug right into. We have students from Maryland, from Texas, from California all over the place. So we have a really diverse community that they can plug right into when they get here. For this huge community, we have what we call legacy scholars. And this is just the name of our first gen community. And our tagline is what you do is your history, and what you set into motion is your legacy. And I just encourage students by just being at UA, they're definitely setting their legacy into motion. And I'm super, super excited to see what all unfolds from their journey. So basically, our mission is all about providing first gen students with four really important things. The first being academic resources and knowledge of those resources. And then we also place a huge emphasis on social connection and community. And then lastly, we believe in personal and professional development opportunities for our first gen students too. This is our mission, and we really take a holistic approach to the programming and all the things that go into the decisions that we make, because we realize every student that's coming in is coming in with a different set of needs. Every student is coming in different perspective, different culture, and to meet those needs and to meet those students where we are, we work really, really hard to provide that holistic programming for them. Here is how it all works out, and here's what I really want to highlight today. So we're all about academic resources, community, personal and professional development for our first gen students. And I want to just walk us through events and mentorship and what campus partnerships look like too. So starting with signature events. This is signature events are really, really big events that usually happen once or twice a year. And I want to give you a couple of examples. So to kick off the semester, we actually have a Legacy Scholars kickoff dinner. This is a huge dinner. We rent out Gorgas Library. We had roughly just shy of about 200 first gen students and faculty staff attend that dinner, where we did activities and we broke students down by college, where they got to connect with their different colleges. And so that's an example of a signature event. But in addition, coming up in a couple of months in November, we'll have our first gen week of celebration. Now, this is a huge week of events specifically designed for first gen students. During this week, we're highlighting first gen success. We're highlighting first gen students across campus who are doing really amazing things, as well as faculty and staff who are first gen. And for this week, we're going to have a huge community dinner. We're going to have an LSU watch party. We're going to have all sorts of events for first gen students. And then lastly, actually, the last two things we do, in the spring, we have a first gen conference where we dive into a host of topics for first gen students. We discuss resiliency, we discuss time management, all sorts of things for them. And then the last signature event opportunity we have, which takes place in the spring semester, is our industry immersion trip. An example of this would be last spring, we loaded up 41 first gen students on a bus and we took them to Montgomery, and we did an industry immersion trip and we stayed overnight, and it was just a really, really great time. So that is signature events. And then jumping to community building. Community is really the cornerstone of our first gen community, and we really like to lead with community and lead with connection. And for this, we have our monthly community dinners. These take place every single month. They're always on a Tuesday, and they're always at 6 p.m. This year, most of them are going to be in Gorgas Library, but these community dinners are a great, great way for our first gen students to come together, share a meal, and just build relationship. That's what it's all about. And then lastly, personal and professional development workshops. We do so much throughout the semester and throughout the year. I just want to throw out a couple of examples, but first, The goal with the personal and professional development workshops is um, taking those tough majors, sometimes those tough majors, those tough topics, and having a workshop for those things. So, for example, we have nursing promotion workshops. We also have workshops that are focused primarily for engineering students to make sure that they are finding success as an engineering student. In addition, we also have workshops focused on time management and career development. That's a huge one. In the month of September, we have Career Fair Prep Week, where we have an entire week of events for first gen students where they're going to learn about uh, resume development, LinkedIn development, all the digital platforms. They're going to learn, um, they're going to be engaged in mock interviews and things. So we have all sorts of events that add tremendous value to our first gen students. Second thing, we're going to jump to mentorship now. This is a huge, huge piece to our first gen community. At UA, we're really, really fortunate to have a robust faculty staff mentorship program where currently we have about 170 faculty and staff mentors. Many of these faculty and staff members, they were first gen as well. And so the idea behind this is just providing an extra layer of support for our first gen students, especially those first gen students who are here in their first year, first gen students. We can all agree anything new that we do, it can be a little bit overwhelming, especially navigating the transition into doing that new thing. And at UA, it's a big, big campus. There are many resources on campus, and it can be a little bit overwhelming. So having that mentor in place for that first gen student is a wonderful opportunity. And then lastly, all of this is not possible without our campus partners. With all of our events and mentorship, we don't claim to outsource all of these different events and all these opportunities just on our own. Rather, we partner across campus to make all these things happen. As I mentioned earlier, we partner with the Career Center to have that career fair prep week because we realize they are the best at doing that. And there's no need to reinvent the wheel. When we have the engineering success workshop, we're calling on engineering to pull that workshop off, or that nursing workshop. We're reaching out to that college to provide that information for us. And so we just rely heavily on campus partners to pull all of this off. This is just just a tidbit of kind of scratching the surface of what we do over the course of a year and over the course of a semester. But I wanted to zoom out for just a second and let all of you know that we're also a part of a bigger picture too. We're a part of what's called the Capstone Center for Student Success. This is, if you could think of it as kind of an umbrella of support for students. And so under this umbrella of support we call CCSS, there's 8 support programs. And just a couple to mention, obviously we fall into this under this umbrella of Legacy Scholars, but there's also academic coaching, there's also undergraduate research, and there's also tutoring as well as first year experience too. And all of these programs are designed to add tremendous value to our students and to their journey while they're here at UA. And so I just wanted to zoom out for a second and take a look at the bigger picture. Legacy Scholars, jumping back to Legacy Scholars in our first gen community. I'm located on the 3rd floor. You can visit me at any time. Tell your student to visit me. I'm in office 341. And if you or your student has any questions, please get them to email me at nrowens@ua.edu. It's also important to mention free printing is available on the 3rd floor of Russell Hall. I like to tell that to all of our students as well as parents and families too. But for any questions, please, please, please reach out to me. I'd love to help you in any way that I can. Thank you so much for your time. But at this time, I want to turn it back over to Dana.
Thanks so much, Nate. It's so great to see all of the great resources that our first gen students have within not only the first gen office, but also in the Capstone Center for Student Success. What we need to do is make sure that our students know about this, and you can help us let your students know about these resources. So you may be getting our campus ESP, which is Crimson Connection newsletter. So there we have a parent and family newsletter. It comes to you called Crimson Connection. And we have a community within there that is for first gen parents and families. So you can get specific information that's just for first gen parents and families. And if you are not already getting that, I sent a fall kickoff email. So if you haven't received that, then let us know. And what you'll do is just email parents at ua.edu and we will get you set up with making sure that you get those emails. But thanks so much for being with us today. And you can make sure you can always reach out to Nate and then also Parent and Family Programs. It's so nice to have you here as a parent of an Alabama student. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.